Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm making a video with my dad. Today he's gonna be ranking all presidents from Washington to Biden, and I hope you enjoy the video. And if you do, like and subscribe. So let's start, and let's start with George Washington. And so,
Can they see me now?
yeah, they can see you now.
Because I can't see me.
Because
Okay. No, just keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so let's start with Washington. What do you think of Washington?
Great. Can I tell you why?
Yes, you can tell me why.
Okay. No, I think Washington was great. I mean, it's kind of obvious. It becomes cliche, and the problem with cliches is that you don't appreciate the truth in them. But the good thing about a cliche is that it is true, and it is true that Washington was a great man, great president. I think also because sometimes the line gets blurred between the lives of these guys and their presidencies. So you think of him as the soldier and the leader of the revolution, the founding father of the country, but also he was a president, and his presidency was a little bit different from the other times. In any case, he refused to be the emperor or the king, which they would have happily made him. He stuck to the Constitution and insisted that it be to be followed to the letter. He established several really good traditions. He was kind of a trendsetter. For example, the inaugural speech, I think, was one of them. I don't remember if he started the State of the Union or not, but then he did some great things. He fought the Indians in the West, what was called the Northwest Territory, which to us would be like the Middle West. Not even. I mean, it's still, to us nowadays, we think of it as the East or Midwest, Eastern Midwest. To them, in those days, it was the Northwest Territory. And he ended up winning those Indian wars. They were very difficult, and they lost some battles. The Indians fought well in some of them, and but Washington won. He led the army. He had to actually put together an army and lead it against the rebels in Pennsylvania, I believe it was, in the Whiskey Rebellion, because people didn't want to pay tax on whiskey, and you can understand that. I wouldn't either, but Washington insisted. He put his foot down, and he actually led the army out against the rebels and won the Whiskey Rebellion. His appointees, his appointments for positions were great, and that's sometimes a great leader is a great delegator, and so he had Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best in history. Another one was Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton
He was the Secretary of Treasury.
That's right.
And John Adams was the Vice President.
That's right. And so I think that whole team was just an incredible team, and they had rivalries about as far as whether they should have the central bank, states' rights. Jefferson was more a states' rightist, and he was more agricultural. He believed in the dignity of farming, etc. Where you had the two parties develop, and Washington didn't like the party system, but he couldn't fight it really. It was, I think, it was natural and inevitable that the parties developed. So you had what was the Federalists, I think, and then what's a funny name to us today is the Democratic Republicans or Republican Democrats.
Democratic Republicans.
That's what it was. Yeah, and I think Jefferson was that one, and then Hamilton was the Federalist, and they kind of disagreed on how to. But one thing Washington did was he consolidated the debt from all the states, so we had a national debt, which was much more manageable. Some of the southern states weren't happy. I don't remember why. Now. I don't remember a lot of details, but I remember I think it was under Washington that they moved the capital down south from New York to kind of appease the Southerners, and that made them happy, or at least happier.
Wasn't the capital Philadelphia?
I don't think so. I think the capital was New York, but I'm not sure. You might be right. I think it was New York.
I think it's Philadelphia. And talking about Washington, do you think keeping slaves was a good thing at the time?
I think it's a neutral thing. It's like driving cars today. You know, one day we might think, oh, cars were polluters and they killed people. A lot of people died from cars. Well, you know, try not to drive a car these days. It's just natural. Nobody thinks of it as a moral thing. And that some people did think of slavery as a moral thing. And of course, but it's too easy for us today to say Washington was a bad guy because he had slaves. Absolutely no. It's kind of, honestly, there are good questions and kind of dumb questions. It's kind of a dumb question, in my opinion. I would never fault a guy from, what was it, 1780, 1790, even 1800 for having slaves as a southerner and a planter in Virginia. So, absolutely, you know, slavery itself, yes, it was a bad thing. But I don't blame anybody for that. I would not hold that against Washington. He was a great man.
And one last question about Washington. Do you think he's a better president than Abraham Lincoln?
That is a tough. That's the one everybody always debates, and it's a good question. Um, I gotta say, both of them had tough problems, but I think Lincoln's problem was tougher than Washington's. Washington's wasn't easy, but he had already won the war, so the war was over. It was a matter of consolidating the Union and then establishing diplomacy with the foreigners, dealing with the French Revolution because that was going on, and the other, you know, the other European countries and other countries around the world. And then internal conflicts and collecting taxes. He had problems to deal with, and he dealt with them very well. Lincoln had a huge problem. He had to try to keep the country from going asunder, and he did it. He did it, and so I got to give the edge to Lincoln. But you could swap places. That would be interesting. Put Lincoln in Washington's place and Washington in Lincoln's place. So that would be a good thing. That maybe in heaven one day we'll have him do that.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say about Washington is that I think I prefer Lincoln because he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all the slaves, and Washington.
It didn't free all the slaves.
And yeah, it didn't free all of the slaves, but it's still better than keeping slaves, because if I lived at the time, I would be against slavery.
Mm-hmm. You think that. It's easy to think that, you know, but if, honestly, like, what's popular today that everybody loves and everybody does that you're against?
I honestly don't know.
You see, because it would be hard to go back to those. I mean, a lot of people in the North, you know, they were, but it's also easy to be in the North and against slavery because there was no slavery in the North. So, okay, but I see what you're saying. But I also see what I'm saying, and that it's easy to judge the past by our own current sense of morality.
So now let's go to John Adams. And what do you think of John Adams?
Let me think if I remember anything about his presidency. I know he was the second president. He had been the vice president. I know he's a great man.
Mm-hmm.
I've read quite a bit about him, but I just don't, you know, it's been a long time. So as far as his presidency, maybe you can remind me some of the things he did as president.
Well, I don't remember all of the good things he did, but I know one bad thing he did is signing the Aliens and Sedition Act, which was a very big mistake on.
Well, what did it say? The Aliens and Sedition Act? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I only know it was bad.
Oh, well, I don't know if I agree with you because I don't know what it is. I would have to see it. And why would he sign it if it was bad? Because he was a good guy. He was from Massachusetts, whereas a lot of the other guys were from Virginia, so he was more of a northerner. And what else can I tell you about him? I don't know. John Adams. I know he's a little bit. He kind of flies under the radar because he gets a little overshadowed by Washington and Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
But he was right there. He's a great guy, you know. I think one of the founding fathers, and he's a lawyer. He defended the British soldiers at the Boston Massacre.
Yeah.
When he defended them at court, and he successfully defended them. And he was quite unpopular for that, I think, among the locals and the, you know, I think he was not too popular for that. But in fact, he did a great job as a lawyer. He did his job.
Yeah.
He did his job, and that was, you know, that was good. So, and he was married to Abigail Adams, and so that means Abigail. What? It seemed like I remembered some story about her, some anecdote, but now I don't. I don't remember. Okay, I don't want to start talking about something I don't know about.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for me to remember details about all these presidents. But John Adams is another guy we like, and we don't even know why.
I think he was a great man, great lawyer, great founding father, but not as good as a president because I think in my opinion, he's like just a little bit above average because he's a great man.
Did he only serve one term?
Yeah, only one, but he ran against Thomas Jefferson in 1800 and he lost.
So he ran for the second term and
he
lost.
ran for the second term and lost.
To Jefferson, and then Jefferson served 2. Washington served 2, Adams 1, Jefferson 2, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So in which tier do you want to put John Adams?
So we got Washington great, right? So
Yeah.
let's put Adams in, I don't know, between good and great, I think, but I don't know as president. Great man, let's say good president.
Okay. So now what do you think about Jefferson?
Well, you got to go great there. I think he's got to be a great one, just by the name. I mean, the name Jefferson, geez. But when it comes to his actual presidencies, 2 terms, let's go with what he did. Well, it was under him that he sent Lewis and Clark to explore the Northwest.
Yeah.
A great adventure. I just love the whole idea of the adventure. So whether that was totally necessary or not, I think it was. He saw it as so. So the whole Lewis and Clark expedition, and then he bought the Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon.
Yeah.
So he got a great deal. So we got all that land, and then I'm trying to think what else I remember him doing. What else did he do, Tomasz? Can you help me here? As president.
I don't remember a lot of things about them about the first 5 presidents exactly.
Okay.
But I know he was a great man. He was a very good president in my opinion. Great founding father. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. But as a person he was okay, but I want to say that he did rape a 14-year-old girl and then have children with her, and that was one of his slaves, and more interestingly it was his sister and his half sister-in-law, because it was his wife's half sister, so they had the same father. And Jefferson's wife died 18 years before he was president, and I kind of feel bad for him. But I think what he did with Sally Hemings, his slave, was pretty bad, because I know it was common at the time for people to marry teenage girls and then have babies right after, but he could have at least wait till she was 20, and that was his slave, so he owned her, so he could do whatever he wants with her. She can't do anything for it, so that's why I think that's why I just don't think he was that good of a person as he is a president or a politician or something.
Did he love her?
He did love her, but he did love her, but if that happened today, he would be going to prison. Because he would go for, I mean, I don't want to say, because if there's like a kid watching this, then I just don't want to say some bad things.
Yeah.
So next is James Madison, and what do you think of him?
James Madison. It was under James Madison we fought the
1812 War
of 1812. So he oversaw the burning of Washington, right?
Yeah.
So that's a bad mark on his character, on his record, let's say. I don't know how that happened exactly. I would have to go back and reread it. There's a lot of this stuff I got to go back and reread. But so yeah, that was a bad one. But in the end, that war was a draw, let's say. But because of the Battle of New Orleans, we ended up, let's say, winning it, at least in our eyes. I don't know what the Brits think.
Yeah.
But But okay, anything else that he did that you can remember? Because I'm gonna have trouble with all these presidents.
I only remember that he declared war on Great Britain, but that wasn't really necessary.
What was the reason for that war? I remember they were taking our men, our sailors, and what do you call it? Putting them on their own ships, and basically kidnapping them to be their sailors, or maybe even taking our. Were they taking our boys off the streets also, or no?
Probably, but I don't really remember.
That was one of the things that caused the war.
Yeah, and so Madison, so the United States won the war, but Madison, one of the not good things he did is declaring war in the first place. So if he didn't declare war,
but we had to stop them from doing what they were doing. They were abusing us, is what they were doing, and so he made a stand, and that was actually not a bad thing in my opinion. The other thing that War of 1812 did was it put America on the map. Because yeah, we had won the revolution. We were now an independent country, but we would be like Liechtenstein these days, or something like that, where nobody asks what they're thinking when something happens in the world. After the War of 1812, the world was on notice that the United States is here and we're ready to have our place at the table, let's say.
Yeah, so, and everybody likes him because most people say he was a good president because his wife Dolly
Madison,
Dolly Madison, yeah. She was one of the most famous first ladies in American history.
Mm-hmm.
She was a lot younger than him. She was like 17 years younger than him, but that's out of the topic. So, and when the White House was burning, she was inside and she was collecting valuable stuff and that probably helped us remember some stuff from history,
including a portrait of George
Washington. Yeah.
And weren't you the one that told me that at that time they did not call it the White House?
It was called the Executive Mansion, but Teddy Roosevelt started calling it the White House.
So when you see that in movies where they call it the White House, that's a mistake.
Yeah, we watched the new series Dead by Lightning. It's a great movie. I recommend watching it on Netflix if you have it. And it was in the 1880s. It was about James Garfield and Charles Guiteau who shot him. So it was in the 1880s, and Teddy Roosevelt wasn't president until 20 years later, and they were calling it the White House. So that's some of those scenes were probably not real, like Guiteau being friends with Chester Arthur. That probably never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you want to put Madison?
Let's go with good, I guess. Yeah, good.
Oh, and also he brought us to the era of good feelings. Did you ever hear about that?
I've heard it called that, but what does that mean? The era of good feelings.
Good feelings.
I can imagine, but why do we call it that?
Actually, I don't know, but I only know it was a pretty good thing.
So everybody was just in a good mood?
Yeah, and the era of good feelings was also while Monroe was president, and James Monroe. And now, what do you think of James Monroe?
Well, we always remember the Monroe Doctrine.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, the insistence on no other country having influence in our hemisphere, right? In the Western Hemisphere, as far as concerning, any country, I guess France, Spain, England, but also especially Russia, China, talking about nowadays. So that's the Monroe Doctrine, I guess. And yeah,
and the Monroe Doctrine. So it was a great thing. I think he helped with something in Africa. I think I heard of something like that, and that's why they made a city called after him somewhere in a country in Africa.
Okay.
Probably called like Monrovia or something. But anyway, there's nothing else that I remember of him as president, because that's the only thing I remember of him.
Okay, let's go.
So where do you want to put him?
Monroe? I don't know. I think everybody's going to end up good or average. I don't know. It wasn't bad, I suppose. He was a founding father, right?
Yeah.
So let's put him in good.
Okay. So next is John Quincy Adams, and he was the most intelligent president in American history. He had 175 IQ, which is pretty high, even at the time. So what do you think about him?
As president, what do we know about him? He was the son of John Adams. And I like John Adams. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say about a lot of these guys. Good guy, I think. Probably a good president.
Good guy, and
you got me kind of. I'm in too deep water here. So much. I'm trying to swim in deep water, and I'm trying to keep my head above the waves.
I know in 1824, in the election of 1824, he was running against Jackson and three other guys, actually two other guys.
Mm-hmm.
There was William H. Crawford and Henry Clay. Have you heard of Henry Clay?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was
from the South.
Probably also a great guy.
Was he from South Carolina or something? Henry Clay?
Henry Clay was from Kentucky, I think, or from Virginia.
Okay.
And so Clay lost early in the election. He was also running, and Jackson won the election, but he did not get the majority of votes in 1824. So the Speaker of the House of Representatives had to choose one of them, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives was Henry Clay, and he hated Jackson, so he wanted Adams to become president, and he became president. He was elected.
Okay.
So basically, Clay and Adams ganged up on Jackson, and that probably made him very angry, and that's why probably he won in 1828. So I think Adams was a great guy, and after he retired, he went to he retired to his house somewhere in Massachusetts. And two things brought him out of retirement. It was number one, what he was disgusted of what Jackson was doing as president. It's just like Donald Trump and Joe Biden back then. And the second thing was his boredom. He was really bored, and that's why he ran for the Senate, and he was a senator until his death.
Oh.
So he fought in Congress. He was in Congress right after he was president. So, where do you think?
Good.
Good? Okay. I would also put him in good. So next is Andrew Jackson, and so what do you think about him?
Okay, I gotta remember stuff about. He's famous now. He was the first Democrat, wasn't he?
Yes, he was the first Democrat.
So he's a Democrat, and I remember with the Indians, he forcibly moved the Indians from like the Cherokee tribe from Georgia. Was it Georgia or North Carolina? To Oklahoma, the reservation, and what was called the Trail of Tears. And so that, I don't really like that about him. And then he kind of hoodwinked the Indians, I think. And I don't think he treated them fairly.
But what's pretty interesting is that he adopted two Native American boys.
Did he?
Yeah, he had two adopted Indian sons.
So maybe I misjudge him on his treatment of the Indians. I don't know. I'll have to look at all that again, but
I think it was a pretty bad thing.
Well, I mean, the Trail of Tears definitely was. I would say, you know, that whole Indian thing could have been dealt with in a better way, historically, starting from day one, probably.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say about Jackson that he was against the National Bank. And that was his big thing. And I don't really remember why or what the deal with the bank is, but he hated the idea of the National Bank and wanted to kill it. And I suppose he did, because he was president. So I think there was a bank, and then there wasn't a bank, and then there was a bank again later. So I don't understand the ins and outs of banking. But he was really not happy about there being a national bank.
Yeah, if I lived at the time he was president, I'd be glad if he was shot because of the Indian Removal Act. It's just like kind of Joe Biden, right? It's like Andrew Jackson being Joe Biden back then, and John Quincy Adams being Donald Trump. But Trump is also pretty bad. I mean, in some people's opinion. Anyway, so yeah, if I lived at the time, I'd probably say Jackson is a horrible guy, horrible president, and he had an assassination attempt in 1835, but he survived.
When he was president?
Yeah.
Because I know he was shot, I think, in a duel.
No, he fought a lot of duels and he killed all of them. He never lost a duel.
How many duels did he have?
Over 100, I think.
Oh, no, I can't believe that. It can't be over 100. I was thinking, I don't know if he hit double digits, probably like 6 duels in his life.
I think he killed a lot more guys.
I mean, 6 would be a lot. 6 would be a lot. So it's not 100. It can't be 100. You can't kill 100 guys. But it might be a lot. I don't know. I know he fought duels. I kind of respect him. He was a toughie, and they call him Old Hickory. He's a character. He's a great character in history.
Did they call him Old Hickory?
Yeah, he's Old Hickory.
Oh, him.
Andrew Jackson we're talking about, right?
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Where did he come from? What state?
He was born in Carolina, either south or north, but he was senator from Tennessee, so he lived in Tennessee.
Okay.
So he probably moved there when he was young, and he was orphaned when he was young. Like, his father died 2 weeks before he was born, and his mom died when he was 14.
Well, that might explain it all. Okay, let's go.
So, where do you want to put him?
I mean, I think he'll come back and shoot me if I put him at average. So let's go with good, I guess.
But he's dead. You can put him wherever you want.
I don't know. But I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with average for him. He's too much of a character. But as a president, I don't know if he was good either. What do you think? What did he do that was good? The problem is I don't know the policies and the things that were happening in all these. I just don't know the history too much. You're asking me to judge things that I don't know.
Yeah. So I only focus at the bad things he did. Like, people judge Trump, but they only think about Donald Trump, about his bad things, and they say that the good things he did wasn't because of him.
Wait. He's on what is he on, the $5 bill?
Jackson's on the... No, Lincoln's on the $5 bill.
The 20?
I think the 20.
So if he's on a bill, he must not have been too bad. Let's give him the good.
Okay. So next is Martin Van Buren, and...
Oh, come on. Okay, you tell me everything you know about Martin Van Buren, because I don't remember anything.
Okay, so I know he was Dutch. He was the only president to speak English as his second language, because he was born in Kinderhook, New York, where a lot of Dutch people lived.
Mm-hmm.
And so he founded the Democratic Party, and he invented the word okay. He was the one who invented okay, because what did it mean? I don't remember. I just don't remember what the K standed for. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
stood
for. But I don't think he was a good president, to be honest, because of the Panic of 1837, and also...
Wait a minute, what was the Panic of 1837? What was that?
It was basically the Great Depression in the 1830s.
Ooh, okay.
So, and I want to say something, but I forgot. And also, people say that it's Jackson's fault about the Indian Removal Act, but actually, Van Buren, he was his Secretary of State. He recommended that, and it was his idea to do that.
Okay.
So, do you want me to put him somewhere else?
Yes, you choose, because I don't know these guys.
Okay, so I'm gonna put him in bad because of the Panic of 1837, and also he wasn't that good. And also, he was elected president in 1836. Then he ran in 1840 for a second term and lost William Henry Harrison over here. Then he tried to get nominated in 1844, but lost the nomination to James K. Polk. And then finally he ran for president in 1848, but he got 0 votes. Because probably everybody hated him. So next is William Henry Harrison, and he didn't last very long. He was only president for 31 days.
But they were good days.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so he had the longest inauguration of any other president in American history. And I don't know, he was talking for 2 hours it was a chilly weather because it was winter. It was March 4th, so it was winter. And it was probably like snowing, and if it wasn't snowing, it was just bad weather. And he took off his jacket and was talking without his jacket on for 2 hours, and people think that killed him, but actually he didn't get sick until 3 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he probably died from drinking contaminated water.
Oh my goodness.
And so he didn't do much as president. Actually, he didn't do anything, I don't think. So I can't say he was bad because he didn't do anything bad, but I can't say he was good because he didn't do anything
So
good.
average.
So average. So next is John Tyler, and to be honest, I don't know what he did as president. I know he... You want to say something?
No.
I know he became president after Harrison died, and he was his vice president, and he invented that because people were arguing on who became president, and he just came and say, "I'm the president now." So basically, he invented that, and they agreed, and he became president.
Mm-hmm.
And but people say he was bad because after he was president, he joined the Confederacy during the Civil War. And do you think the Confederacy and the Union were 2 different countries, or the same country but divided?
Same country divided, and I don't think you should judge one of those men on whether they went south or went north. I would say it's 50-50. You can go either way and then fight it out and see who wins. And it's just because the North won. And we think of ourselves as being, from the North and being superior or something. But I wouldn't hold that against him that he went with the South. I mean, a lot of people went with the South. It would be curious to know where George Washington would have gone, because he was from Virginia, and that's why Robert E. Lee went to the South, because he wanted to stick with his state.
Yeah.
So I would not hold that against a person.
And also, Robert E. Lee's wife was the great-granddaughter of Martha Washington's son.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot to hold in your head. Okay.
And anyway, I think I'm gonna put Tyler in bad because he wasn't a good person either. So
all right.
Next is James Polk, and if I judge them by their haircut, he would go to trash because he has like long hair at the back. That's not how I'm gonna judge. We're gonna judge them. He was a good president.
Is he the one that ran on the campaign with the slogan Tippecanoe and Tyler too?
No, it was Harrison and Tyler.
Because it's Harrison.
Harrison did that. What was the Tippecanoe thing?
Tippecanoe was a fight against the French or the Indians?
The Indians, I think. So that was Harrison, the Tippecanoe thing, and Tyler was Tyler. Mm-hmm. So, and that was their, campaign.
So he won at Tippecanoe, and then he was also going to beat Tyler, right?
Yeah, so that was their campaign song. I mean, they had a song written for Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Mm-hmm. But talking about Polk, he was a good president because he wanted Texas. He wanted to annex Texas, and he declared war, I think, and then he won, and we got Texas, and I think we also got New Mexico and Arizona too.
So that was the war against Mexico.
Yeah, the Mexican-American War.
Okay. And the Alamo? Was that with the Alamo? Remember the Alamo.
I don't know.
Okay.
So I think Polk deserves to go to good. And also, he had the shortest retirement from any president because he only lasted 103 days after, so that's 3.5 months.
Mm.
And he also contracted cholera, which was from drinking contaminated water. And
again?
Yeah, both of them. And he was pretty young. He was only 53 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So and his wife survived him by 40 years, over 40 years. Next is Zachary Taylor, and he was a general during the
from Louisiana.
Yeah, he was from Louisiana. So do you know anything about him?
I know he was from Louisiana. Did he go to West Point? Was he one of the generals?
No, it was Grant and Eisenhower.
Okay, so what do I know about Taylor? Tippecanoe and Taylor too?
No. No, he was called, nicknamed Old Rough and Ready.
Old Rough and Ready, because he was rough and he was ready for anything that happened, but nothing happened.
And he also died very quick when he was president, but at least he survived over a year. So he died in July 1850.
1850, okay.
And he died from drinking too much milk, I think. Or no, it was from eating too much cherries, because he loved cherries. And a couple of them might have been like old and rotten and moldy inside. But also the day before he died, or maybe a few days before he died, like a week, he was in the Washington building. No, he was in Washington for like he was in Washington for the 4th of July celebration, and then he died 5 days later. So it was probably hot, and he probably got sick from that. But and there are theories that he might have been poisoned, but analysis don't have proof of that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put him in average. So next is Millard Fillmore, and that's one of the presidents that you just can't remember. So he became president after Taylor died, and one of the bad things he did was that Compromise of 1850.
What was that about?
I don't know. The first time I heard that, I thought it was a good thing.
This is when they were adding states.
Yeah.
And they had to, in order to add a southern state, they had to also add a northern state, or vice versa, to keep the count even, to keep the balance.
Yeah.
And they added, maybe it was Maine and Kansas or something, or Maine and Missouri. I don't remember which two states, but they added one state from each, the north and the south, to keep the balance.
And I think there was that. I think when he was president, they made that line. Like, if you see a USA map, you can see that Oklahoma has a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the what was their name? Jeremiah Dixon, and there's Mason and Dixon, and they made that line.
That's the Mason-Dixon line, way out there?
Yeah.
I thought it was in the east. I didn't know it was out in the west.
And Fillmore even had 2 ponies, and he called them Mason and Dixon.
Okay.
And so Fillmore was he was like either bad or below average, but so he was probably like he was a very boring president at the time, and he ran for president in 1856, but he lost to James Buchanan. And to be honest, I don't think he would be...
One of my least favorites, by the way.
Yeah. In my opinion, he's the worst president in American history, and even worse than Joe Biden.
Let's not talk about Biden and Trump yet, because we'll get to them later, maybe.
Yeah, so Fillmore goes in bad, but I kind of feel bad for him because he lost a wife and daughter right after he left office, and his daughter was only 22.
Oh, that hurts.
So it's like my cousin Jessica. She was only 20. She died in a car crash. Next is Franklin Pierce, and he's going straight to trash because he tried to make things good, but only made things worse.
Talking about what?
he signed that Kansas-Nebraska Act, which caused Bleeding Kansas,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and it made the Civil War come
Yeah,
closer.
what that said was that whoever was living there you could make your own rules in your own state when it comes to slavery, right? And so what that created was a rush for people to move to Kansas in order to be one of the voters for whether we go free or slave. So you had the free people go, the pro-free.
Yeah.
What do you call them? When you want to overturn slavery, abolitionists. The abolitionists rush in there, and then also the pro-slavery guys front rushing in from the South, and then they fought each other. And John Brown was there. I don't know if he came from there, but he was there with his sons, and they ended up like hacking up people with broadswords and stuff. Like, yeah. So there was it was a bloody situation. Yes.
That's why they called it the Bleeding Kansas.
Yeah.
But he went through a lot of trauma in his life because he lost two of his sons because they died very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a son that died in a train crash.
Who is this we're talking about?
Franklin Pierce.
Franklin Pierce, okay.
And he and his wife also died. They also almost died in the train crash. But they probably fell out of the train, and then they saw their son being decapitated by the train. And that was when they were going to Washington. When they were going to Washington, 2 months before he was inaugurated. So I'm really sorry for him. And also he was a very big drinker. Like Ulysses Grant was a big drinker, but Pierce was an even bigger drinker. He drank so much that he got liver cirrhosis and died from liver, not cancer, but inflammation of the liver.
Yeah.
So, and after he left office, he reportedly said there's nothing left to do but get drunk. And also his wife died a few years before him. So, and he died alone. And anyway, next is James Buchanan, and it's very obvious where we put him because he did nothing to stop the Civil War from coming.
Yeah, he was a bad guy to be in there before Lincoln, right before Lincoln got in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
where did he come from? He was from the South, I'm sure.
No, he was from the North. He was from Pennsylvania.
He was from Pennsylvania, and he didn't do anything to stop that war?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Absolutely no help. Yeah. Yeah, and I heard a story about he and Franklin Pierce's vice president, who died over a month after they were inaugurated. His name was William R. King, and he and Buchanan were roommates. And there's some speculations that they were gay, but I don't want to think about that. So, and that's one of the other reasons why I don't like him. Because, anyway, let's not talk about that. So, and yeah, Buchanan did nothing to stop the war, and everybody will agree with me that he goes to trash. So let's go. Now let's go to Lincoln. So it's obvious where we put him because, in my opinion, he was the greatest president in American history. But what do you think about him? No, absolutely great. He had vision. And he stuck to what he knew he needed to do. Some people kind of go play it by ear, or as things come to them, they adapt or they adjust or they create a plan. He knew what he wanted to do, and he kept his eye on that vision. And the other things were mere distractions, and he did not allow himself to get distracted. And so his eye was set on keeping the country united. Whatever else happens, whether there's slavery, no slavery, whether we fight a war, whether men die, whether not, our relationships with England and other countries, and the price of cotton, and it doesn't all matter. Only one thing matters to him: keeping the country united, no matter what. And that's what he was focused on, and that helped him deal with all the other things. Because once you know that's what your goal is, then everything else kind of falls into place to some extent. At least it makes it easier, and then you don't get distracted. Because if you're chasing, well, the price of cotton, or what do the British think, or what are we going to do about slavery, then you get distracted, and then the whole country falls apart. He didn't let that happen. A lot of people would have. And what I like about Lincoln too is this, and it's the same thing happened with Reagan and a lot of other great presidents. They come to Washington and they just look like they got straw in their shoes. You know what I mean? They're just coming like they just came out of the sticks, and he doesn't know how to talk, how to dance, how to dress. He wears a stupid hat, and he's like riding a horse, and it looks like a country bumpkin. And people laugh at him and call him stupid, and they did, and not to mention ugly and all that stuff. So he really was ridiculed by the elites, and the same thing with Reagan. Same thing with many other. Reagan didn't come from the sticks, but I mean they called him stupid, and dumb and all that. And the same thing with who are we talking about?
Lincoln.
Lincoln. They really thought he was a country bumpkin, and he probably didn't know his way around so well, but he knew what he wanted to do, and he was a sharp, smart guy. He also knew economics, and that's he took the country off the. He established the greenbacks. That's what he did. Established the greenbacks as the national currency, and that worked well. So he could finance the war, and he believed in big projects, and great man.
And he was one of the presidents that
Are you gonna eat while we're talking?
I just ate a chocolate.
Yeah. Go ahead.
He's one of those presidents that lost a kid when he was president.
Yeah.
Because he had a 10-year-old son named Willie, and he died. I don't know of what he died, but he died somehow when Lincoln was in his second year as president, and he was just depressed right after he died.
Well, of course.
Cried buckets.
Well, he suffered the deaths of many close people in his life, from his mother, which is kind of natural.
I know.
At least it was just one son that died?
No, there was two when he was alive. There was Eddie that died when he was 3, but that was way before he was president, and there was Willie.
But in his lifetime, many, many people died. And then he also had a heck of a wife. They called her the Hellcat.
I know, Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah, the Hellcat. What a piece of work she was. So, but he dealt with her as well as he could.
Yeah, because people said that she was crazy, but that's because she was also really depressed, not just by her son, but she also lost a couple of brothers when they were fighting in battles, and she was probably also depressed from that. And then Lincoln was shot, and then later their third son Ted died when he was 18, and then she died when she was not that old. She was only in her 60s. But that's kind of old at the time. She died in 1882.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
What?
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
So next we're going to Andrew Johnson, and I'm going to put him in trash because he's also one of the really crappy presidents, because one, he was impeached because of something, and he...
But wait, not something. Why was he impeached? Because he was impeached, but why? But I think he had enemies in Congress.
Yeah, he had enemies in Congress, and one man saved him from forcing him to resign. I don't really know the story, but I know there's someone that helped him escape what do you call it when you're kicked out of the presidency?
You're forced to resign? Or
he helped him to not be kicked out. Yeah.
We need a history teacher to teach us, like, what was that impeachment about? Like, why was he impeached?
We have to watch some videos, and and uh, Johnson thought that the Constitution really was bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to say that about Lincoln too. He bent the Constitution as far as it could go without breaking, because he suspended habeas corpus. And from what I understand, habeas corpus is like the police can't just arrest you because you're like you got a bad haircut or something, or they just don't like you. They have to have a reason, and then you have the right to go to court to defend yourself, etc., within a reasonable amount of time of being arrested. And I guess that's what habeas corpus is. And Lincoln suspended that. Um, and he would conscript the Irish right when they came off the boats. And you see that in that movie, Gangs of New York. You see Irish guys getting off the ships and going straight to the recruiter and signing up for the army. So he also took West Virginia because he needed the coal for the railroad. Although it is true that that's a mountainous region of the state, and they didn't really need slavery, and they weren't because they didn't have farms like for growing. I don't know what they grow in Virginia. Tobacco. In any case, but he took liberties with the Constitution, quite the opposite of Washington. He was complete opposite of Washington when it comes to the Constitution. Okay, let's go.
So,
Johnson, he had to deal with the after-war years, which means, what do you call that? The 10 years after the war.
Post-war.
Yeah, but there's where the North went down and those carpetbaggers went down, and after the war we had, what's the word? Repression, suppression,
something like that.
Succession, no.
Restoration.
Reconstruction.
Yeah, he started Reconstruction, and that's one of the bad things that he did actually.
Reconstruction, yeah.
And so do we stay at Johnson or do we go to Grant now?
I mean, I'm done with Johnson. Do we have anything else to say? No.
Oh,
I just want to know why he was impeached, because I'm not sure it wasn't just political, like he was hated.
I wanted to say that Lincoln was a Republican, and he ran with Johnson, but Johnson was a Democrat.
Why did he run with Johnson if Johnson was a Democrat?
Because he was probably like his friend, and Johnson was from the South.
Where was Johnson from?
Tennessee.
So it probably had to do with Reconstruction why he was impeached or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 1864 election. He ran with him, and but Johnson wasn't elected from the Democratic Party. He was actually nominated from the National Union Party, and so he wasn't straight from the Democrats, but he was a Democrat. So I think we're done with Johnson. Now let's go to Grant. So Grant was a great general, a great man, and he also was a heavy drinker. Like I don't know if it's true, but like soldiers told Abraham Lincoln that Grant was a drinker, and he asked what's his favorite drink. They said probably like whiskey or something, and he told them to give him a full barrel.
Yeah, because his drinking didn't affect him in a bad way, as far as we could tell. He was a great general in the war, and then won the war, and then was president. And I think my impression of Grant as president, not so much as general, because let's go beyond that and go to presidency. He himself was not a corrupt person, I don't think, but he surrounded himself with bad people who were corrupt. And so you had a kind of a corrupt administration, and that was probably his fault. I mean, you got to blame it on somebody. You blame it on him. So, yeah, I want to like Grant. I like him as a person, but I don't think he is like Who was the guy during the Depression?
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover. I like Herbert Hoover, but not as president. He just didn't. I don't know. Maybe he was dealt bad cards. Maybe it was bad timing. But to be president at that time was tough. And Herbert Hoover, great man, bad president.
Just like Jimmy Carter. He was also a great man, but bad president.
Yeah, one could make that point. Yes.
So, do you want to put Grant somewhere, or should I decide?
You decide. You know
So
this guy's better than I do.
I'm gonna put him in average because some people say he was underrated, but I think he was kind of overrated because people say he was a good president because he was a good general, but actually he didn't. Both of the 1870s presidents were like not very good, so I'm just gonna put him in average because there's not much that he did good as president. So, and also he was nominated. He was some people tried to make him run for president in 1880, but he refused. And in that series, Death by Lightning, they showed that he was actually running for president, but that wasn't true.
Tomas, let me just say something because this is going to take forever. I can see because we got a lot of presidents to go through. Why don't we cut this off and then we can continue with like the next batch, and we'll do like what do we got? About 20 done here.
18.
We got 18 done.
And also we're running out of time because I can only record for an hour.
Ah, okay.
So we can do part 2
tomorrow.
Whenever we can. Okay, tomorrow. So is there more we can? Do we do one more president or are we done?
How much time do we have?
4 minutes.
Who's the next president?
Rutherford Hayes.
Let's get him done because I can't say anything about Rutherford B. Hayes.
So I'm gonna put him in average because he's also pretty average.
Was he another war general?
Yes, I think I don't know if he was a general, but he was a leader during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And
did he do anything as president?
Yeah, there was that railroad strike of 1879, I think, but that was a bad thing. And but I don't think I don't remember anything good about him as president.
But I mean, a railroad strike. Was he? Did he break the strike, or did he? Like, because a strike is not necessarily. It depends on whose side you're on. You know, the strike. You're on the side of the strikers or on the side of the business. You know, it's like Reagan broke the strike against with the air traffic controllers. Remember, they went on strike.
Yeah. So probably the railroad workers weren't happy or something, and they just got angry and striked or something, or maybe it's something. What was his fault?
Well, I got to know the details. I see that arouses my curiosity. Now I'm curious. What happened with that railroad strike? Because strikes to me are interesting. Those are interesting events. Okay, let's be done.
Okay, so we'll finish now, and thank you for watching. And
is that what I look like?
Is that what I look like? So thank you for watching, and I would appreciate if you check out my dad's podcast channel. And if you can't find his channel, it will be like a orange logo with white P on it. So, and his channel's name is Patrick Chapman. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe and share my videos with your family and friends.